Marvel Animation is making moves, and we finally have updates on X-Men 97 Season 2 and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. When are they dropping? What surprises are in store? If you've been waiting for the news, you won't want to miss this. Let's dive in. Well, if many of you guys have been paying attention, you've been hearing Marvel head of streaming and animation, Brad Winderbaum's name all over Marvel news. He's really become the face and the lead voice to the Marvel streaming and animation side of Marvel Studios. And this has given fans some really great insight into what's going on and where they're taking some of our favorite projects. Now, in the last year, Marvel Animation has really started to step up, and they delivered some pretty big projects. In a little more than the last year, they've released both X-Men 97 and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And along with What If Season 3, which closed out that series, well, all of these projects have really been pretty big success. For Spider-Man and X-Men, we've all been wondering when we're going to see a Season 2. And as many of you know, Marvel was really slow with animation for the first season of both of these projects. You've also heard Winderbaum start to talk about annual releases and how Marvel is trying to line these things up every year instead of leaving fans waiting 24 to 36 months between seasons, which has kind of become a staple with a lot of streaming platforms. Well, recently, Brad Winderbaum sat down with the team over at Collider, and in that interview, he really pulled back the curtain on what's going on behind the scenes at Marvel, specifically with X-Men and Spider-Man. So first, let's talk about X-Men, and then we'll do Spider-Man. Now, in that interview, Winderbaum made it clear we're going to be waiting. He actually said Season 2 of X-Men 97 is going to be in 26. We're working on it now. It's exciting. The world of the 90s is just, honestly, I can't believe they let me make it. I grew up at Marvel, as you know, and I felt like I used a lot of currency to revive this thing that I loved watching after school. So the fact that we get to play in that universe with those actors is honestly why I went into this business in the first place. Now, his heart for nostalgia for the show I think is pretty awesome, and it did reflect in Season 1, so hopefully, despite a lot of behind-the-scenes changes, that is reflected in Season 2. Honestly, I'm not surprised we won't see the show until 2026, and if I'm making any bets, it'll probably release in April or March in a very similar time frame as they did in 2024. Quite honestly, 2026 might be a little ambitious, but I don't think he would throw this out unless they were definitely making great progress and had sort of a project plan for when it would be complete. So I think X-Men fans are going to have to be patient. Now, as far as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, well, it looks like we're going to have a similar wait. And maybe 2026 will be the year of Marvel Animation once again. In that same Collider interview, he said, quote, Season 2 will be released in 26, I think. We will have a Spider-Man season every year if I have anything to say about it. What usually happens, as you know, in animation, is there's a bigger gap between Season 1 and Season 2 than in subsequent seasons. And that will be similar for Friendly. We'll have to wait a little more than a year for Season 2, but after that, it should come out as an annual cadence. Hopefully. Now, the key thing he said here differently was he used the phrase, I think, which means more than likely, which means quite obviously that the second season of Spider-Man is definitely behind X-Men 97 in development. This would make a lot of sense based on the release dates and when those projects were completed. So it's not alarming, but again, us fans are going to be put on hold for the second seasons of these shows. Now, once again, he reiterated here though about the annual cadence, Marvel Studios making an effort to get these shows out faster. And he's not wrong about subsequent seasons for many animated projects. Look at Invincible. The time between Season 1 and Season 2 was quite a bit, but Season 3 dropped in a rather reasonable amount of time. So I'm expecting Marvel Studios to kind of take up the same process. I also think overall, this idea of annual releases indicates that Marvel has probably matured behind the scenes with their in-house animation. This means as the process gets ironed out and it starts to work like a well-oiled machine, well, expectations will be easier to meet and they'll be able to set a solid schedule that keeps fans engaged. I think it's a great plan to bring us these shows annually. I think all streaming platforms definitely suffer from these long waits, and if Marvel could make that something that's quite a bit different about them than everybody else, well, it'll help them stand out. Hopefully they can keep up the pace, but how all that works out, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, before you take off though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC videos, and we want to be your place for all the real, truthful superhero news, and we're going to bring it to you truthfully and transparently so you are really in the know.